Stepford to the 42 freeway. That's a look at traffic. Not too bad this morning. Mike Chanel.
Thank you. We keep an eye on that live shot from BP and the oil and whatever's spewing out there is really coming out now. So we're going to give you the latest information on that from somebody who knows.
Yes, let's bring in Senator Ted Kaufman. He has the latest on this. You know what we were talking about this morning? In addition to just the picture where it looks like a storm under the water, fishermen are having breathing problems. The pictures, the wildlife, just devastating.
Oh, it is devastating. It's absolutely, totally, completely. It's just awful, and the thing is, we don't know a lot to do about it. I mean, this is one of those classic examples where we made a lot of mistakes over the years, and now we're paying the price for it. And the federal government's just not set up to deal with this now. Basically, what we should have been, we should have regulators out there doing it. And you know, back in March, I mean, I'm a big supporter of President Obama, but I came out strongly against his idea of drilling and drilling offshore. And the reason I gave was because in Delaware, but also in New Jersey and other states like Louisiana, the economic loss, if you have a spill, is just incredible. And that's what I said at the time, the economic spill. So, you know, when you do this drilling, you have to really have the inspectors on the site. Now, how did that ever happen? And you talk about the concrete and the things that went into it. They just didn't have inspectors out there on the site. Like a lot of things, they don't have inspectors.
And if they did from the MMS, they were taking bribes and golf games and hookers and everything else.
But you know, one of the problems is we went through a period where the government everybody said, we don't need any government. Remember that government? Keep government off my back. Don't let them regulate. Bobby Jindal, the governor, was down there saying, I'm not taking anything from the federal government. Well, the federal government has a real role to play in these things. And the federal government should have had inspectors out there on the site, and inspectors they were watching to make sure they weren't taking money from everybody else. That's one with the real problem. And now we're trying to put Band-Aids on a really serious wound. And it's horrible what's going to happen to those people. That's the human tragedy on this thing, and the loss to wildlife is going to be extraordinary.
There's so many pieces. We could pick your brain all day. Of course, now the president is coming out saying, you know what? I'm not a yeller. I'm not a screamer, but I'm angry. I look at these pictures and I'm angry. What do you think he should do? Should he just go down there and
I think he's got to empathize with the American people. I mean, we're only going to be able to sue much. We said basically, we bought it BP. BP said this will never happen. There's no problem. Plenty of politicians in Washington said, don't worry about this. Just leave it up to the corporate America. They can do it. Don't let government mess. They're going to go overseas. They're going to do all these things. Remember all that? All that verbiage is still here today. Now, you know, we got a situation where the only people that have the expertise to do this are BP. We didn't put in all the stuff that we should have on inspection, and now we got this incredible problem.
And people like Bobby Jindal now screaming for the federal government, come down here and take care of this and save me.
Yeah, no, but I think the president has to use the bully pulpit to tell people how. We all got to rally together. We're going to get through this thing. We're going to work together. We're going to make sure that everything gets cleaned up in the end and things like that.
I don't know if you've seen the latest animation, a possible projection. If a loop current grabs this oil, it goes around Florida and comes up to Delaware.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's going to be, I mean, right from day one. The longer this thing goes on, it is awful. We'll be dealing with this for years and years and years and years. It's terrible.
And finally, do you think BP should just, you know, have to pay these families? The thing is, it's more than just the families. It's a ripple effect. It's an entire region. You're crippling their way of life.
Oh yeah, no. This is the Exxon Valdez on steroids. This is absolutely terrible. Absolutely, they should pay. They should pay for all these things. They were the ones when they said, "There's no problem here. Not to worry. This will never happen." They didn't do the work that they should have done. Now, by the way, the federal government's still culpable in the fact that we didn't have the inspectors down there to do it. But the main thing has to go to BP, and it's an economic situation. Last year, they made $6 billion in profits.
Look at that.
You know, they're going to have to pay a good portion of that to the people around who are affected by this.
Well, yeah, they make about $67 million per day.
Exactly.
Come on. Real quickly here, that Joe Sestak, did he get offered a job by President Clinton or the Obama administration? That story won't go away. What's your take on it?
My take on it is they didn't offer him a job. I mean, let's start right.
It was an appointment.
But it's non-paying. I mean, a job is a job. People don't do things for jobs. I think what they're basically doing is try to convince him not to run, that they were supporting, an inspector. But I mean, I think the job thing's totally, it's good political just grist for the mill. It's stuff, you know, people in Washington talk about. I think most people out around the country, when I travel around, people aren't talking about Joe Sestak wanting a job offer. They're talking about it here because Joe Sestak's here.
Right. What about the bigger picture of the White House being involved in politics and in races? Is that politics as usual?
The White House involved in politics? Come on. Involved in races? If they're not involved in races, they're practicing malpractice.
You ever get offered a job not to run?
I never got offered a job not to run. No, I never did. Got offered a job to run.
Well, Chanel wants you to run again.
No, thank you, Chanel. I appreciate that.
Tell it like it is. We appreciate that.
That's great.
Thanks, Senator.
Hey, it's always a pleasure.
Oh, right. Get fired up.
Yeah.
All right, 7:36. All right, there is some controversy that has people talking along your beaches there.